can speak to Vicky Price, who's a board member at the Centre for Economics and Business Research. Vicky is in London. Welcome to the program, Vicky. You know how TV interviews work. We've probably got about 4 minutes. So I said to my editor, I'm not going to waste time with an opening question to Vicky about whether she's shocked or not, because I'm sure she's going to say she's not. And my editor said, no, you're going to have an interesting answer to that. So there's your question.
I'm still going to say I'm not really shocked. And the reason for that, of course, is that quite a lot of the people that you mentioned do all sorts of investments every year. And the years that have been chosen, of course, of them not paying anything at all, could have been years when they have indeed either lost some money on investment, or they've put some money that they got as a result of making profits out of some straight back into other ventures. And that's what tends to happen. There are all sorts of ways in which you can reduce the amount you pay in 1 year. But at the end of the day, if you do get that money and out of, say, capital gains or any other way in which your particular venture perhaps has succeeded, then you have to pay your tax. Well, Biden is very well aware of the low rate anyway that is being paid, even when you do sell those shares and you make quite a lot of money out of whatever venture. So he wants to raise that very significantly, and that's where we're moving. And the data that just come out today would, if anything, strengthen, I think, that determination to do so.
What are the arguments against Biden's idea of raising taxes for the most wealthy Americans?
Well, the arguments may be that they would just move out of the country and go somewhere else. But the interesting thing that's going on right now is that there is a move to have minimum taxes across the globe, as you know, with the G7 decision, or at least a proposal for the rest of the world that there should be a minimum corporate tax rate, which quite a lot of the richest, of course, use as part of their business actions, if you like. And therefore, they would have to pay that rate at some point, the minimum rate that is now being suggested, whereas quite often they didn't do so. That in itself suggests that there is a change in the mood, and that the idea that you can move your profits somewhere else and enjoy low income taxes and low corporation taxes is hopefully going to be a thing of the past. So basically, I think the move has been a positive one so far and has been well received. And I'm suspecting that the mood is changing to one where perhaps people are expecting that the fair share should be paid by the richest people as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that issue of public opinion, because clearly this isn't a legal issue. No laws are being broken here by people who circumvent and use the current legal structure to pay less tax than a normal person. So therefore, it becomes a moral issue. How much of a defense is there from whoever you may choose, who would say, OK, I may not pay as much tax as you, but I give a lot more money to charity and philanthropic causes?
That is true. But of course, they can also say that because of all the operations that they have, whether it's in the US or elsewhere, they employ quite a lot of people. Those people pay taxes. So they're contributing to the economy. They're contributing to employment staying high. They innovate, they invest, all that, which, of course, we want to see happen. At the end of the day, of course, do they pay the fair share once they made those earnings? And that's the question. And the belief in the Biden camp anyway is that that tax isn't high enough when you realize some of your profits. And that is going to be changing. I think the mood is such that it's probably going to be relatively easier to pass than would otherwise be the case, particularly with the arrangements that have been made across the globe as well for the time being. We'll see whether they work, of course, once they start getting implemented. So we may still be here in a few years' time saying that nothing very much has changed.
Vicky, you remember that letter, the open letter that a whole load of millionaires and billionaires from around the world signed a few months ago saying, please tax us more? One of the reasons they gave was that they wanted their money to be spent to fight the climate crisis. What did you make of that? Was that just sort of virtue signaling, or do you think there could be some sort of action from, I don't know, some governments at least might think it's a good idea to take up a millionaire on the offer to be taxed more?
Well, I think they know that they will be taxed more, but it is true that they have paid quite a lot in the sense of putting money into the economy by encouraging innovations. I mean, look at Elon Musk, for example. I mean, look what's been going on in terms of electric cars, climate change, and so on. So what you find is that certainly any attempt to move faster on the climate change front is going to require a lot of raising of taxes, which again, the Biden administration has realized, which again, the Europeans have realized. Here in the UK, we're pushing corporation tax up. So it has to be funded somehow. And sharing it more equally will be will be absolutely the way it's going to go. So all the people we're talking about now, if indeed this is what happens, and corporate tax rates, which they own quite a lot of corporations, of course, goes up, they will be contributing more, whether they like it or not.
Vicky, thank you. My editor was right. You have interesting answers to everything. Thank you so much. Vicky Price in London.